Hey, it's Beck with Beck Balance. Remember the last time your back felt great? If it's been a while, I made this video for you. Now, I developed this self-care technique when I was working on the NBC shows American Gladiators and The Biggest Loser. I used it to help the contestants compete, so I thought it would help you too. The leg muscles, and particularly the hamstrings, get gummed up and stuck together and they anchor down the hips. And then that causes tension to rise up the low back. Now, if you're using the same stretching technique that you learned in junior high or high school, and it's inferior, I'm going to show you an advanced self-care technique that's going to help you open up the hamstrings and also isolate them. Most of us learn to stretch our hamstrings by bending over and touching our toes. Now, the reason why this is inferior is because if the hamstrings have gummed up and stuck together, anchored down the hips, and as we bend over, most of the stretch is going into the low back, causing it to be hyperflexible, weaker, and then later on, pain travels up the back faster. Now, before I teach you this self-care technique, I want you to grab a tool. Now, it's probably something either you already own or you can get from one of your friends for free. It's one of these, a tennis ball. Now, you want one with some give to it, so after your tennis playing friends has used it enough to where they're not interested anymore, that's perfect. If you get one from your dog, wash it off and make sure that it's not chewed up completely and collapsing. It needs to have at least some resistance. After you grab one of these, meet me on the ground. Step one of two. Now, you're not going to need to do step one every time, but you're going to need to do it the first time and anytime your hamstrings get gummed up, because this is what releases it so you can then isolate them later. People get overloaded so much with so much information that it's impossible not to neglect something at one time or another, and our hamstrings often get overlooked. This is how you address them. To understand the hamstrings, look at the image I'm placing up right now and notice how the hamstring attaches to this U-shaped bone underneath the pelvis. And then as it travels down the leg, it splits off and inserts onto both inside and outside of the shin bone, or tib-fib, tibia and fibula. Now, the calf muscle, or gastrocnemius, it comes up and overlaps, this strong overlap, inserts into the inside and outside, medial and lateral aspects of the femur. And that's what reinforces this hinge joint. So get in the figure four position to where you have one leg bent and the other leg straight. Now you want to flex your foot back so it makes the hamstrings and the calf muscles tight or taut. Grab your ball and put the ball under the leg. Now you want to make sure you do not place the ball underneath just the back of the knee. Go at least 2 to 3 inches up from the knee towards your bum. Now, when you look at the image, look at how those muscles split off. The hamstrings split off, both bicep femoris and semimembranosus, sembitendinosus. And what we're doing is we're putting the ball in the belly of the muscle, and instead of stretching so much, even though it's tight, what we're doing more is leaning into it. We're leaning into the ball so that the pressure opens up the muscles gradually. So what's called fascia, or the connective tissue in the body, what holds the muscles together, it's affected by 3 things: temperature, vibration, and pressure. We're using pressure, but if you want to increase the effectiveness of this and make it go quicker, you can take a bath. That would activate temperature. Or they have those percussion massage instruments. That would be vibration. Lean into it and just kind of press down and let gravity do the work. Now, if you don't feel much of anything, then pull the ball just like an inch or 2 up towards your bum. What that's going to do is follow the body, the muscle, and find the area where it's catching or where it's stuck. Now, don't be surprised if it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes for one area of your leg to release. And it often takes 15 to 20 minutes to release the hamstrings on one entire leg. But set with it, take your time, and what it's like is a sticker that you're pulling off something. And when you grab a sticker, you don't yank it or you'll rip it. You don't go too slow, but it's that constant pressure that you pull up, and eventually you'll feel it go and separate. So just be curious
hang out with it a bit, and you're going to put the ball eventually all the way up to the sit bone, to issue tuberosity. But start towards the knee and then separate, and when you lean into the ball and it loses that intensity, then you know it's time to move it up a little farther. You want to take your time here, slow down. This is the investment you're making into your body and your wellness. If you're familiar with Eastern medicine, this opens up an energy channel in the back of your leg, the yang leg meridian.
Step 2. After you've separated the hamstrings, now it's time to stretch them. I want you to grab a table or a chair, anything about waist high. It can be your desk. Place your palms on it. Make sure your feet are parallel, legs are straight, and they should be about 12 to 18 inches apart. So if you just jump up and land and then make your feet parallel, that should be about right. Now the important thing is you rock your pelvis back and you kind of stick your bum out a bit. And what that does is it uses those anchoring points we talked about a little while ago to then pull up the hamstrings, make them tight or taut. So then when your wrists are on the table or chair, you just kind of push back a little bit. Get a nice firm stance, rock the pelvis back, feel the hamstrings get tight, and then press back. After the pelvis is rocked back, in order to isolate them, just shift your weight to one side. Doesn't matter which side because we're going to go back through, and because the hamstrings are split and they split down to both sides of the leg, by shifting your weight one side or the other, it isolates both the inner and outer hamstrings. And then when you find one of the hamstrings that is a little tighter or a little looser, well, the tight ones, hang out with it a bit more because that's where the problem's at. As you hang out with it, that tension and intensity will dissipate. I hope this helped you. Now, if you want to learn how to access your core on a deeper level to remove even more pain and increase power, then go to beckbalance.com and sign up for my pelvic balancing course, How to Balance the Pelvis in 3 Steps. Now, this course is designed for 2 types of people. Number 1, manual therapists. Now, traditional training teaches us it takes 2 to 4 months to remove SI dysfunction or sacroiliac dysfunction and balance the foundation of the spine. Not anymore. With this technique, you can balance it in and through any session you pick. And what this does is by balancing the foundation of the spine first, it opens up energy channels and the body reacts and opens up in ways that it won't open up if the pelvis is locked. And you can build on that work exponentially with all the other amazing tools and skills you have. The second group that this is designed for is my favorite. It's for everyday people, and it empowers all of us with self-care, with the ability to balance our own pelvis, to remove our own pain, and access our own core. So if you've been spending money on chiropractic work, PT work, massage work, and you're facing the same challenge over and over again, and you're wondering, when is this going to get better? Sign up for the pelvic balancing course. Learn how to balance your own pelvis before you go into your session, so then your therapist can then build on that and do all of the amazing things that they do to make you happier, healthier, quicker, saving a lot of money and time. So beckbalance.com. I also have a free webinar on how to boost the immune system if you're interested. Otherwise, I'll see you out there and stay healthy.